after rush. Keep your AM radio on and fight the late afternoon doldrums with G. Gordon Liddy, a different kind of conservative, from 3 to 7 p.m. The hottest talk shows, quality entertainment, right here on Grand Rapids News, Weather, and Traffic Station. Wood AM 1300.
Why, it's easy and it's free. You just call 1-800-GG-LIDDY. Now, if you just can't stand the noise from my headset, you want to send me a fax, that's easy too. 1-800-937-G-FAX. The address for email is potent357@AOL.com. And for the G. Gordon Liddy Hardball Politics 96 board game, it's 1-800-411-GAME. That's 1-800-411-4263. All righty. Cameron has slipped me two things from the internet. And the first is, what's this? This is from CNN Interactive. And it's, this is from Elsa Clench at Dateline, New York. Lingerie dressing is how New York designer Josie Nattori describes her fall collection. These are sophisticated yet sexy clothes for women who are not afraid to show their feminine side, even in the workplace. And what it shows is women who look as if they're in their nightgowns. And that's great. I mean, these women that they've got here look great in their nightgowns. And something a little less titillating, but quite interesting just the same. It says Intel to put the Net phone high on the agenda. Intel's going to lay out a good portion of its internet strategy this month at a conference where an Intel Internet phone, an internet applications trial between Intel and Sony, and a plan for the creation of an Internet Dream Machine will loom large on the agenda. Now, the Dream Machine, which is not expected to become a reality until next year, 1997.
Right in. Was it the minimum wage thing? Yeah. Damn it!
Bill Clinton is a high-pressure system accompanied by a smaller group of spin doctors that can suck you in if you're not careful. Hide your children, your savings, and your checkbook from Twister.
Right wing! Left wing! Right wing! Which way is this thing coming from?
Bill Clinton is the Twister.
Where's my paycheck?
This is not a watch or a warning. It's here now, and only you can make it go away.
Rush Limbaugh, weekdays noon to 3 on Wood AM 1300.
Hey folks, Ray Bentley here. I'm at Classic Chevrolet, Burlingame and 28th Street. They got their biggest sales event of the year going on. Not only that, they're having tons of fun. The Cruiser Club is here. They've got all their antique and classic automobiles. You can come out, take a look at those. You'll enjoy that. Also, while you're here, you got to look at the over 550 new and used vehicles that are on sale. You can make your best deal of the year. In Classic, hey, you buy a car here today and they'll toss in 100 gallons of gasoline or an alarm system valued at $269. That's not too shabby, but check this out. It gets better. No payment for 100 days. Financing as low as 3.9% and guaranteed financing to any and everyone who comes through the door. They're pulling out all the stops. They got the dunk tank out here. I'm finally dried off a little bit, so if you want to come out, challenge me in that dunk tank competition. We'll see if we can both get all wet. I'll be here till 6 o'clock to do that. They got grub, they got pops, they got it all. We're giving away Bubba's Gator books as well as 28th Street in Burlingame, open till 9 o'clock tonight. Let's go to Kevin and get some traffic.
Thank you, Ray. 28th Street has a usual crowding right now, but nothing unscheduled reported. Holland has been just banging the cars together. We have a whole list of crashes on city streets. Lincoln Street, M40, and US 31. 20th Street just west of Central Avenue and 18th and Van Ralty. Northeast part of Grand Rapids, eastbound Michigan Street, right lane is closed at College Avenue. This is prep work for the big one that's going to hit next week. City of Grand Rapids says they'll close the intersection of Michigan and College for 2 months Going to Holland, westbound Ford, both lanes are open for business this afternoon. Kevin Richards, Wood AM 1300 Traffic Watch.
And it is I, G. Gordon, known reverently to some as the G-Man. And this is Radio Free DC, the G. Gordon Liddy Show. And we're good to go and ready to launch. All right, in this hour, ladies and gentlemen, my review and comment on the news. And in another hour, we will have a book on the art of politics, war without bloodshed, and appearing here on this very stage, in person, for the first time, one-night engagement only, Eleanor Clift. Unfortunately, that lovely lady will be accompanied by her husband, whose name is Tom Brazatis and is co-author of the book. We should have a lot of fun. All right, first of all, let's get these out of the way. This is from the Associated Press, and this is essentially hurricane news. It says that the center of Hurricane Bertha is about 55 miles east of Eleuthera Island in the central Bahamas. The movement is toward the northwest at 18 miles per hour. Winds are near 105 miles per hour. Forecasters say that unless Bertha begins to turn north in the next few hours, a hurricane warning may be needed for some parts of the U.S. coast. Well, that obviously did not happen, so we now have the hurricane warnings for the U.S. coast. Also, you have this political development, a story by Paul Bedard on the front page of the Washington Times. Richmond, Bob Dole yesterday abruptly abandoned his promise to the National Rifle Association that he would lead the fight to repeal the assault weapons ban. Instead, he focused on barring criminals from buying any type of firearm. Quote, "We've moved beyond the debate over banning assault weapons," the Republican presidential candidate said in an address to about 200 Virginia state police officers. "It sounds good. It's a nice sound bite. You can say it on television and everybody thinks they're safe, but we've got assault weapons anyway." Mr. Dole's comments and subsequent elaboration by his aides means that he no longer stands by the promise he made April 10th, 1995, in a letter to NRA lobbyist Tanya Matuska to make the repeal of the assault weapon ban, backed by President Clinton, a priority. "The terms of his letter have already expired," said Nelson Warfield, a spokesman for Mr. Dole, who recently retired as a Senate Majority Leader to run full-time for president, and thus is no longer in a position to facilitate legislative repeal of the ban. 4 days after Mr. Dole's letter, the Republican National Committee received a $40,000 contribution from the NRA. Mr. Dole said that the ban has been a failure and presumably doesn't need to be repealed because 11 of the 17 outlawed guns are back on the market in some other form. William Barr, Attorney General in the Bush administration and a Dole traveling companion, yesterday agreed, saying the assault weapons ban is not really relevant anymore. Mrs. Matuska said she didn't see any change in Mr. Dole's position, and she noted that the NRA backs Mr. Dole's call for a national instant background check of gun buyers to supersede the Brady Law, which calls for a 5-day waiting period but does not mandate a background check of buyers. In a brief telephone interview, she added that if Congress approves the repeal of the assault weapons ban, I would expect that he, if he was president, would sign it. I view Senator Dole as being consistent. And he is. I mean, he can't very well facilitate the repeal of the ban when he's no longer in the Senate. And so what happened was that promise got overtaken by events. I don't think, however, that it is irrelevant. I think it's important to repeal it because it's got some silly nonsense to it about magazine capacity and things like that that should be repealed. All right, let's continue with the front page of today's Washington Times. This is a story by Warren P. Strobel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu brought his hard-headed, security-oriented view of the Middle East peace process to the White House yesterday and appeared to win reluctant backing for his approach from President Clinton. Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Clinton went out of their way to present a united front, attempting to dispel tensions stemming from U.S. support of former Prime Minister Shimon Peres and his more flexible approach to negotiations with Arabs. Mr. Netanyahu, on his first U.S. visit since his May election, dominated a joint news conference with Mr. Clinton. He said he is willing to continue peace negotiations with Palestinians and Syrians, but he gave no sign of yielding on their key demands, including trading land for peace and freezing Jewish settlements on the West Bank. He insisted that Arabs who negotiate with Israel take steps to ensure its security against terrorism. Quote, while we yield to no one in our desire to achieve peace, on the question of security and terrorism, we will not accept the notion that peace and terrorism can coexist under one roof, said Mr. Netanyahu, who was elected after 4 bombings in Israel undermined confidence in Mr. Peres' labor government. Mr. Clinton strived to avoid confrontation and at times seemed to be reading from the Israelis' talking points. Benjamin Netanyahu is the real thing. You see, Bill Clinton is not. Bill Clinton is a wartime coward. Benjamin Netanyahu is a wartime commando leader. Netanyahu is 10 times as smart as Bill Clinton. He's U.S. raised and educated. If he were speaking to you, you wouldn't be able to tell that he wasn't your next door neighbor from his accent or anything like that. He's a bright guy, smart guy, and he's the right man for Israel right now. Bill Clinton, of course, is the wrong man for the United States right now. Finally, from the front page of the Washington Times, more on that outrageous Secret Service incident in Chicago the other day where somebody allegedly insulted President Clinton and the Secret Service arrested him. This is by Ruth Larson. The U.S. Secret Service yesterday sought to distance itself from the arrest of a Chicago area woman who, quote, insulted, end quote, President Clinton during his visit to a festival there last week. The Chicago Police Department said it is handling the matter, which is attracting growing public and media attention. A police spokesman said, there's no Secret Service involvement to my knowledge. Ralph Grayson, special agent in charge of the Secret Service's Chicago office, would only say there is an ongoing investigation. The Secret Service apparently is concerned about what it calls a threatening statement by Patricia Mendoza and is consulting with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago. Quote, there was a threat against the life of the president made by Mrs. Mendoza, Secret Service spokesman Arnett Heinze said. Chicago police arrested Mrs. Mendoza and her husband Glenn. Both were charged with disorderly conduct, only a misdemeanor, and were interrogated for 12 hours before they were released. No federal charges had been filed. Meanwhile, a leading House Republican sharply criticized the conduct of police authorities. Representative Robert L. Livingston of Louisiana, the Appropriations Committee chairman, said on C-SPAN, the cable TV public affairs network, is this going to be the norm? If you criticize the president, are you going to be arrested by a bunch of federal agents and thrown in jail overnight? That's a frightening thought. I think on the heels of this FBI investigation, with these FBI files in the White House, this kind of symbolizes an appalling lack of respect for human rights and for the rights of people to speak out in this country. And it is. It's absolutely disgraceful. But what she said was, you suck, and those boys died over there, referring to the 19 Americans who died over in Saudi Arabia because DOD botched the the defenses. There'll be more on that shortly. All right. It's inexcusable to do that. Well, here's an exercise in futility, ladies and gentlemen. This is a piece by Valerie Richardson. Denver. Former Colorado Governor Richard D. Lamb yesterday declared himself a candidate for the presidency of the United States on the Reform Party ticket, gambling that his no BS agenda, that's in quotes, will be enough to overcome his lack of funding, or lack of organization, and lack of name recognition. Speaking to a packed news conference at the University of Denver, Mr. Lamb, 60, said his decision to abandon the Democratic Party came after concluding that the two-party system is unable to meet the demands of today, much less the challenges of tomorrow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who votes for a Reform Party candidate is simply wasting a vote. Mr. Lamb or anybody else run by that outfit is going to be elected President of the United States. You're wasting your vote. It's the whole thing is an ego trip for Ross Perot, who doesn't need an ego trip. Okay, we will take a break. And when we come back, a story about the House of Representatives. They've got a new probe of the Clintons.
More of the G. Gordon Liddy Show coming up.
Are you paying too much for life insurance? You very well could be. A 45-year-old man could be paying anywhere from under $40 a month to over $100 a month for a $250,000 10-year term life insurance policy. But by calling Matrix Direct Insurance Services, that same 45-year-old man could pay less than $37 a month for the same coverage. A 35-year-old man could get a $100,000 10-year policy through Matrix Direct for less than $11 a month. Call Matrix Direct for affordable term life policies ranging from $100,000 to $10 million from top-rated insurance companies and lock in today's rates for up to 20 years. Why pay more for term life insurance? Call Matrix Direct for a fast, free quote over the phone from a licensed insurance expert. Call 1-800-914-TERM today. Matrix Direct. 1-800-914-TERM. 1-800-914-TERM. Rate subject to underwriting criteria available in most states.
I love chocolate, but not all those calories and fat. That's why I'm glad I found incredible new Ovaltine Light. It satisfies my craving for a creamy, chocolatey snack with fewer calories. It's good for me, and it's fat-free.
New Ovaltine Light has the great taste of chocolate malt Ovaltine, but with fewer calories. And Ovaltine Light has essential vitamins and minerals.
Now when I want a chocolatey snack, I don't feel guilty. I feel like an Ovaltine Light. Feel like an Ovaltine.
You're listening to the G. Gordon Liddy Show on the voice of conservative West Michigan, WOOD AM 1300.
We're very confident in Brooks Fiber Communication because they're good at what they do.
You're listening to Calvin Murdoch, president of SF Electronics. Calvin, what about Brooks customer service?
Like most small businesses in our type of industry, the lifeblood is our communication line to our customers. And Brooks meets that need very nicely.
The switch from Ameritech to Brooks, was that painful?
It was seamless. We did not know that it even happened.
Are you using all of Brooks' services?
We know that there are other services that they can offer to us, and when the time is right, they will be in and take care of those needs for us.
Have you missed Ameritech?
No,
Not even one bit?
absolutely not.
For information on how your company can switch local phone service to Brooks Fiber, call 1-800-396-7878. Brooks Fiber Communications, your local phone company.
Superior Color Graphics offers you the benefits of one of the finest, most complete printing facilities in the Midwest, right here in Kalamazoo. Superior specializes in premium quality brochures, presentation folders, annual reports, or anything printed in color. Our electronic prepress department features high-end Macintosh systems for typesetting, color separation, retouching, and page assembly.
In the press room, computerized presses print up to 7 colors in one pass. Our letterpress department adds that extra special touch with embossing, foil stamping, and die cutting. Finally, each project is finished with care using the latest equipment in our bindery. With over 65 years of experience, advanced technology, and skilled professionals, we deliver better quality printing for clients all over the Midwest. For more information, please call Superior Color Graphics today at 1-800-848-3219.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
I'm conducting a random man-on-the-street interview. How do you feel about the cable company's latest price increase?
What, another one? What do they think these are, the good old days of no competition?
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking.
That's it. I'm getting DirecTV. With the DirecTV deal of the century, my monthly price is guaranteed until the year 2000. Can you top that?
Hey, I'm just a random man-on-the-street interviewer.
With an 18-inch dish and DirecTV programming, I can get over 175 channels. Sports, movies, my favorite cable channels. Could you give me more? Huh?
Well, look, I'm just a guy, so, probably not.
And with the DirecTV deal of the century, there are no lousy price increases. Can you promise me that?
Well, I personally never raised any prices, but I'm just asking about cable.
Cable schmable. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a little dish to buy.
To lock in your monthly price until the year 2000, get a DSS system and subscribe to DirecTV Total Choice Programming before August 10th, 1996. Conditions and restrictions apply. Hardware and programming sold separately. DirecTV, satellite TV at its best.
WOOT. Before you head out on vacation this summer, head into one of Goodyear's 5,000 retailers across the country. Or call 1-800-GOODYEAR for the participating retailer nearest you. Because right now, you can save 25% on Regatta, Goodyear's best-selling all-season radio. Save 25% on selected Goodyear Eagle High Performance and Wrangler light truck tires, too. And get a special introductory $40 manufacturer's rebate on a set of 4 Infinitrail, Goodyear's longest-wearing radio. For peace of mind, for a great family vacation, call 1-800-GOODYEAR. But hurry, the sale ends July 13th.
Hey, folks, this is Ray Bentley, and I am at Classic Chevrolet for their biggest sales event of the year. You know where it's at, Burlingame and 28th Street. You see the big tent out in the parking lot. Lots of classic vehicles out here. Come on out and check it out. The Cruiser Club is here. But what you really want to see is the over 550 new and used vehicles that are on sale here today. You can make your best deal of the year today at Classic. And not only that, the prices are low, but they'll also toss in 100 gallons of gas or an alarm system valued at $269 if you make that deal today. That's not too shabby. Also check these deals out. No payments for 100 days. Financing as low as 3.9% and guaranteed financing. So get on in here today and check it out. They've got over 550 new and used vehicles to choose from. Guaranteed financing, as I said. Also, you got the dunk tank going. You can come in, take your shots at me. Maybe you can dunk me. My 4-year-old daughter just did. So come on in. We got Bubba Gator Books, Grub, Pop, you name it. We got it at Classic Chevrolet. Now let's check traffic. Here's Kevin.
Got a fender bender in the country, Ray, east of Hudsonville, Barry Street near 16th Avenue and McClellan Street. Nobody hurt. South side of Holland, still another crash. They've been racking them up there. US 31 and Lincoln Street, M40, kind of an important place. Going to Holland, westbound Ford has both lanes open, so going out there's no problem. But coming in, you got a one-lane squeeze eastbound between Hudsonville and Jennison. Downtown, the S-curve and the Ford Freeway still looking pretty good. Getting heavy now and starting to slow down. Kevin Richards, Wood AM 1300 Traffic Watch.
Here's more of John Bean's worst nightmare. G. Gordon Liddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here at Radio Free DC. We are going through the Washington Times, Washington's premier newspaper. And here is a piece. The Republican-led House Committee is investigating Hillary Clinton's $100,000 profit in the commodities market, but is having difficulty obtaining some records from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the panel's chairman says. House Agriculture Committee Chairman Pat Roberts, Kansas Republican, and Representative Thomas W. Ewing, Illinois Republican, asked the exchange in a June 21 letter to provide unreleased documents that may refer to the First Lady's trades. Quote, they refused to meet the request of the committee, Ewing spokesman Terry Green said yesterday. While the exchange did offer certain documents to Congress, its detailed response said other items would have to be subpoenaed before being turned over. We asked for specific information. They have provided it. We're now at the point where, if we can find additional information by subpoena, we will, Mr. Roberts told reporters yesterday. He would not release either his letter or the response. Well, it seems that the Clintons now have the Chicago Mercantile Exchange stonewalling for them. Well, that is, in my view, a bet on the election. They're betting that those two are going to be back in office. Yes, indeed. The co-presidents. Here's Inside the Beltway by John McCaslin. One Pentagon reporter was overheard to comment yesterday, why travel to a third world nation when you can stay in Washington, D.C., where the streets aren't plowed in winter and you can't drink the water in the summer? That'll just give you an idea, just an idea of how bad things are in your nation's capital, ladies and gentlemen. Crime-ridden, bankrupt, can't drink the water, streets full of gaping holes, utter incompetence. And these people actually talk about home rule. You're out of your mind. Story by Michael Hedges, Washington Times. Henry Espy, the mayor of Clarksdale, Mississippi, and brother of former Agriculture Secretary Mike Espy, was charged yesterday with fraud and lying to federal agents and bank officials. A federal grand jury in New Orleans, hearing evidence developed by independent counsel Donald Schmaltz, returned a 15-count indictment charging Mr. Espy and his attorney with illegally obtaining a $75,000 loan. The charges revolve around efforts by Henry Espy to retire campaign debts accumulated by his unsuccessful bid to fill the congressional seat vacated by Mike Espy after President Clinton appointed him Agriculture Secretary in 1993. The charges are part of a larger case that Mr. Schmaltz's team is trying to build against Mike Espy, according to lawyers and officials close to the case. They'll probably convict this fellow, but I'm not at all sure that you're going to flip a brother to testify against his own brother. But Cain killed Abel, so who knows? John is now handing me something here from the wire of the Associated Press. Let's see what it is. Yes, Florida has ordered 500,000 people off the Atlantic coast to escape Hurricane Bertha. That follows the posting of hurricane warnings from Central Florida to the central coast of South Carolina. Earlier, up to 50,000 people were told to leave two popular barrier islands on North Carolina's Outer Banks. That area is under a hurricane watch. But now you've got 500,000 people ordered out down in Florida. We will keep you posted. As soon as we know it, you will know it. Right, now this is something interesting concerning which I have more information than is in the paper. I'm going to read this article to you, and then I'll give you more information. Now, this is about the so-called Viper Militia. Phoenix, Associated Press, Washington Times. As federal agents conceded they knew of no immediate plans for the Viper Militia to bomb government buildings, defense lawyers said the group posed no threat, and many of its weapons were relics. Federal agents testified Monday that with two sources inside the group, including an undercover agent working as the militia's security head, the government knew there were no immediate plans to attack buildings that investigators had said were targeted for destruction. We felt the agent had a pretty good handle on the situation, said Steve Ott, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms agent who supervised the investigation. He felt there was absolutely no plan to conduct any bombings of these buildings at that time. Trying to prove the government had nothing to fear, the defense called federal investigators to the stand who said the government had not issued warnings at the buildings, nor had they tightened security. How much of a danger can there be if a federal agency knows of a risk and doesn't think it warrants a warning, lawyer Deborah Williams says. The testimony came on the second day of a hearing to determine whether militia members accused of plotting to blow up government buildings should remain in jail pending trial. The government's penetration of the group was so thorough that the agent's bugged apartment was used for meetings, Mr. Ott said. The agent, an officer for the State Game and Fish Department, shared an apartment with a militia member who was also providing information to the government, Mr. Ott said. Defense attorneys ridiculed the charges and played down the militia arsenal, so-called, seized by the BATF when the group was arrested last week. Mr. Ott conceded that many of the weapons were old, including some that predated World War II. Now, listen to this, though. Even in this article, which I want to point out is not written by the Washington Times, it's from the Associated Press, they say militia members accused of plotting to blow up government buildings. Now, I have gotten some information about this case from my good friend Bob Brown, who, amongst other enterprises, runs the Soldier Fortune magazine out there in Colorado. And this is a memo to Mr. Brown from Rick Sherrill. Situation report, Arizona Vipers arrests. He attended Mr. Sherrill attended the detention hearings in Federal District Court in Phoenix. That was from 1,000 hours to 16:30 on the 5th of July. Contrary to what most of the news media continues to report, the, quote, Vipers, end quote, are not charged with plotting to blow up federal buildings or any other building or property for that matter. 6 of the 12 defendants are charged under Title 18 U.S.C. Sections 371 and 231A. Conspiracy to furnish instruction in the use of explosive devices and other techniques in furtherance of civil disorder. That's the charge. Note, this charge will be hard for the government to prove. In fact, they have produced no evidence that the defendants had any intent to commit civil disorder or any other crime. All 12 defendants are charged under 18 U.S.C. 371 and 26 U.S.C. 5845D, conspiracy to unlawfully manufacture, receive, and possess destructive devices made with ammonium nitrate. Note, this charge will be hard for the government to prove, in that they have produced no evidence that the explosive charges the defendants set off in the desert near Wickenburg, Arizona, and in the mountains near Payson, Arizona, were designed as weapons. Nor has the government established proof that the defendants had intent to commit civil disorder. Further, there is evidence that the defendants did their so-called training on private property with the owner's permission. 3 of the 12 defendants are charged under 18 U.S. Code, Sections 922 unlawful possession of a machine gun. That is, by the way, allegedly an unregistered 1919 Browning 30 caliber water-cooled machine gun. That's a World War I relic. And a converted AR-15. And apparently an unregistered, or allegedly an unregistered Thompson submachine gun. And a converted SKS. None of which can be used to blow up buildings. You remember the article that I just read to you talked about Steve Ott, the supervising BATF agent? Listen to this. BATF Group Supervisor Steve Ott was called by the government to testify. Considering that this was an agent with 9 years' experience, his knowledge of ATF procedures, law, and the case itself was remarkably lacking. Under both direct and cross-examination, he was totally lost. For example, now this is right out of the transcript, ladies and gentlemen. This goofball of a BATF agent. You know, this is why the BATF has to go. This is the group supervisor. He continually stated, "I'm not sure, I don't know, I have no recollection of that, I think, I guess, etc." When asked if a rocket launcher Was a National Firearms Act violating weapon? He said, I don't know. It's the group supervisor of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. He's chargeable with enforcing the National Firearms Act. When asked to describe an alleged rocket, he said, I don't know. I can't describe it. Agent Ott alleged that the defendant's use of explosives created craters in the ground. However, under cross-examination, defense attorney Deborah Williams said, you, Agent Ott, have nothing to show that the group, that's the defendants, did it. Ott's reply was, I guess not. The defense said, isn't it a fact that the group told the confidential informant that they wanted to get away from using explosives? Agent Ott, I don't recall. When asked about firearm conversion kits, Agent Ott said, some conversion kits are illegal to possess. It's very confusing. Yeah, it confuses the group supervisor of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. In regard to the BATF confidential informant, the defense has information that the confidential informant at the direction of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms attempted to get the group to pass out Aryan Nations literature, and they flatly refused. The BATF informant actually provided the group with smokeless powder and flash powder. The confidential informant asked the group if they might like to pull some bank robberies and other crimes, and their answer was no way. The confidential informant talked the group into training with explosives even when they had no plans to. This case is taking on a very odorous air from the start. From the facts that are beginning to emerge, it is increasingly evident that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms has not learned its lesson. As congressional hearings on Ruby Ridge and Waco proved, this is an agency that considers lying as a way of conducting business as usual. My friends, this is a case that deserves close watching, as it may prove to be the straw that breaks the BATF's back once and for all. Let us hope so. Here's their group supervising agent. When asked to describe a rocket, I don't know, I can't describe it. Group supervising agent of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Give me a break. Give this country a break. Dissolve that stupid organization, that dangerous organization. These people kill. Whew. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We know that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and the FBI's hostage rescue team and everything are on witch hunts. Well, it's nothing new, as we shall learn just as soon as we come back from these commercials.
The Liddy Show returns in a moment.
Are you paying too much for life insurance? You very well could be. A 45-year-old man could be paying anywhere from under $40 a month to over $100 a month for a $250,000 10-year term life insurance policy. But by calling Matrix Direct Insurance Services, that same 45-year-old man could pay less than $37 a month for the same coverage. A 35-year-old man could get a $100,000 10-year policy through Matrix Direct for less than $11 a month. Call Matrix Direct for affordable term life policies ranging from $100,000 to $10 million from top-rated insurance companies, and lock in today's rates for up to 20 years. Why pay more for term life insurance? Call Matrix Direct for a fast, free quote over the phone from a licensed insurance expert. Call 1-800-914-TERM today. Matrix Direct. 1-800-914-TERM. 1-800-914-TERM. Rate subject to underwriting criteria, available in most states.
If you use ordinary Johnson's baby powder on your foot itch, listen to Brian Bishop of Stoneham, Massachusetts.
Your feet tend to sweat and get itchy and irritated, and Johnson & Johnson, I think that's more like a baby powder.
Unlike ordinary powders, Gold Bond's triple action formula has the absorbing action of powder, plus the medicating action of a proven itch fighter and the drying action of zinc oxide.
Gold Bond has that fresh, clean, tingly feeling. I lost the itch right away.
Gold Bond, more than a powder, it's medication. Use only as directed.
You found the right radio station to spend the day with. WOOD AM 1300.
A runner
a teacher, a worker, a lover, around and round, both day and night.
Rite Aid wants you to win your share of $100,000 this summer in our Cool Cash Sweepstakes. We're giving away a cool $10,000 cash prize every week now through August 31st. You could win other cash prizes too. So be sure to stop by Rite Aid and enter each week. You don't even have to buy anything, but you do have to be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident. Rite Aid's Cool Cash Sweepstakes is happening now. Michigan and Ohio residents may also enter by mailing name, address, and phone number on a 3x5 card to Rite Aid Cool Cash Sweepstakes, P.O. Box 20450, Indianapolis, Indiana 46220. One entry per envelope. Must be postmarked by August 31st, received by September 4th. See official rules in stores. For your life, Rite Aid's got it.
It's here. It's the big one. It's our summer clearance sale at Talsma Furniture. Hi, this is Richard Talsma at Talsma Furniture. Are you looking for some real bargains on quality name brand furniture for your home? Then take a drive to Talsma Furniture. I have just gone through our showrooms and warehouses and marked down all discontinued and one-of-a-kind items to rock-bottom prices. Choose from Broyhill sofas, Lazy Boy recliners, plain sectionals, solid oak dining room sets, and one of the largest selections of bedroom suites around. And it's all marked as summer clearance prices. And even at these low prices, Talsma's offers free local delivery and free setup in your home. You won't be disappointed in the big selection and clearance prices during the summer clearance sale at Talsma Furniture on Ottawa Beach Road in Holland and on Chicago Drive in Hudsonville.
WOOD. Highland Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle Fact. All dealers pay the same price to the factory for the cars they buy. And when they resell them to us, we all pay about the same price. Except from some, like Highland, where you always pay a little less. So what is the difference these days? It's service, inventory, and those little extras. Listen closely. Highland Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle has won Chrysler's Service Award for Excellence 36 years in a row. Think about it. Who wants to shop for a car, then have a service headache for the whole time you own it? Current customer satisfaction at Highland, over 99%. And is there anyone who wants to go to a dealership and then choose from just a handful of cars? I don't think so. That's why Highland always has a huge inventory of everything, including Jeeps, minivans, and that used Sebring convertible. And during the first year, that service rental car is free. So what is the difference in dealerships? Well, around here, it's Highland.
Highland Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle.
Big rebates now on Jeep Cherokees at Highland, 28th Street near Kalamazoo Avenue.
Hey folks, Ray Bentley here. I'm at Classic Chevrolet Burlingame at 28th Street, and it is amazing. It's unbelievable. It's magnificent, fantastic, and mind-boggling. It's their biggest sale of the year going on. They've got over 550 new and used vehicles. You can make your best deal today at Classic, and they'll toss in 100 gallons of gas or an alarm system valued at $269. That's not too shabby. But check this out. The details are no payment for 100 days. Financing as low as 3.9%. Guaranteed financing. Just got to come in the door and check out the unbelievable selection they've got going on here today. They're pulling out all the stops. Come on out and check out the Classic Cruiser Club. Will be here. They got classic vehicles. You can see those. Dunk tank is up and running. I'm still soaking wet. You can come out and take your shots at me until 6 o'clock. They got grub and pops. They got it all. Giving away Bubba Gator books as well. And it's the biggest sale event of the year at Classic Chevrolet. You don't want to miss this one. It's Burlingame and 28th Street, open till 9 o'clock tonight. Get on out here and check it out. Now let's check out traffic. Here's Kevin.
Looking pretty good on 28th Street right now, Ray. The usual backups have popped up. Ditto along the lakeshore. US 31 has clogged to the lights between the Washington Avenue Spiderweb on the south end and the Grand Haven drawbridge. Going to Holland, good news from MDOT. Westbound Ford has both lanes open in the work zone between Jenison and Hudsonville. Eastbound side has a one-lane squeeze in that stretch, but they will open that up for tomorrow morning's rush hour and give you a break. On the east side of town, a couple backups on the Beltline. And Kevin Richards, Wood AM 1300 Traffic Watch.
Here's more Liddy. The G-Man is back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just heard about, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms going nuts over a bunch of people who blew up some dirt. But listen to this. There's nothing new about witch hunts. Boston, Washington Times. A courthouse clerk has stumbled upon undiscovered documents from the witch trials that stirred Massachusetts in the 1600s. Richard Rouse, a clerk for the state Supreme Court, uncovered leather-bound volumes detailing dozens of cases against accused witches while cleaning out a file cabinet on the 14th floor of the Suffolk County Courthouse, according to the Boston Herald. The frayed, decaying volumes date to the earliest days of the Puritan colonists from 1673 to 1695. In one case, Elizabeth Johnson was accused in 1692 of becoming a detestable witch. She gave herself both soul and body to the devil, and signed he devil's book, and by him was baptized, and under him renounced her Christian baptism and God and Christ, and owned the devil to be her God, and promised to serve and obey him forever. Oh, you believe that? You can be a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms agent. And I tell you, it's going around, ladies and gentlemen, this stuff. Listen to this. I'm just going to jump right now to the New York Times, because you got to hear this. This is by Douglas Jail. Mansoura, Egypt. If it is true, as it is whispered here, that certain young women in this provincial capital have let their moral standards lapse, then no one wants to believe that they fell prey to hormones alone. No, the cause, the curse, it is said, was ordinary-looking chewing gum, laced with aphrodisiacs capable of transporting the most innocent female into sexual frenzy. The potion's source, it is firmly believed here, is an Israel bent on corrupting pure Egyptian youth. Female virtue remains so highly prized in rural Egypt that the murder of a daughter can be justified as a crime of honor. And in Mansoura, rife with talk about orgies said to have occurred at the local university, the specter of moral breakdown has created an atmosphere of crisis. It was a joke at first, said Doa Mosalem, a 19-year-old student in the School of Engineering. We began to hear rumors that a girl had sex with 7 boys on campus and another had sex with several others in a car. But now I believe that something was really going on. End quote. Exactly what happened at Mansoura University is still elusive, even after weeks of reports in anti-Israeli newspapers and furious allegations by members of parliament. Fathi Mansour, who has accused Israel of a huge scheme to ravage the young population of Egypt. A laboratory analysis by Egypt's Ministry of Health found nothing in the brands of so-called Israeli gum, said to have been traced to smugglers in Gaza, that could stimulate sexual arousal, the health minister Ismail Salim said in news conference last week. And an investigation by Vice Squad in Al-Dakhaya province found nothing to back up reports that women driven to passion by the gum had carried out sexual attacks on their male classmates. I gotta get some of this gum. But in Mansoura, a quiet city on the Nile, 81 miles northeast of Cairo, loudspeakers affixed high on the minarets of mosques blare warnings against chewing gum. Fathers warn daughters against sampling so much as a single piece. And nearly everyone interviewed over parts of 2 scorching summer days seemed convinced that the candy-coated squares of gum sold under brand names like Aroma and Splay